Welcome to our channel, Those Twins Who Knit. My name is Rachel.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is our space where we like to share all the things that we've been working on, mostly knitting, but we do have a couple of sewing things as well.
And it feels like it's been a long time since we posted. It really hasn't been that long. It's been like a month or so, but in that time we've taken a big trip to Europe with our mom. We went to Italy and Montenegro and Croatia, so we had a great time and really enjoyed that. And then we also had a 30th birthday, so that was really exciting. So it feels like we've been up to a lot of things that aren't necessarily like knitting and making related, but they've still been bringing us a lot of joy, and it's been a really good summer so far.
And we also are celebrating that we're officially 2 years into this channel, so it's crazy to think that we've been on YouTube for 2 years now. It hasn't felt very long at all, but just kind of fun to look back and celebrate that too. I'll start with what I'm wearing today, and I have to admit it's really hot, so I don't know if it'll make it the entire time, but I just wanted to show up with a knitted piece because I'm really proud of it, and it's our knitting podcast, so you know it feels appropriate. But I finished my Dagmar Jacket by PetiteKnit. I always want to say cardigan, but she calls it a jacket. And I knit this in Kelbourne Woolens Scout in the color Graphite Heather and their mohair base, which is called Harmony, in the color Shale. And I do want to point out that the Harmony part, the mohair, was gifted to me, which is very kind of Kelbourne Woolens to offer. I had shared my plans for making this piece with the Scout yarn that I had purchased myself, and then they were like, hey, we're coming out with a mohair, so they kindly offered that to me. But overall, I am so happy with how this turned out. It took so long, and I feel like everybody's been making them, so I don't know if I have a ton to add that hasn't been shared, but I'll just share a couple of things that I probably haven't mentioned, because I've been knitting on this like in the background, but I haven't even shared it recently. It got to a place where I was like making progress, but not enough to have anything new to add to it, so I don't think I even talked about it the last episode or so. But last time I shared it on here, I think I was getting done with the body, and so I since then picked up along for the button band and then collar and sleeves, and my kind of thoughts that I hadn't seen out there too much, and I even went on Ravelry, so this is probably a me issue, but I had a hard time picking up the exact amount of stitches that PetiteKnit recommended, and that was for both all of it, like the button band, the collar, and the sleeves, and they were different for different pieces. So for the button band and the sleeves, I followed her ratio, but still ended up picking up more stitches and had to keep going back and like getting rid of stitches, which was a little bit frustrating. And for the collar, no matter what I did, I couldn't pick up enough. So I think for pretty much all of it except for the sleeves, I kind of just went with like what felt right. I didn't fuss too much about getting the exact number, but I just thought that was kind of funny because I don't normally have that issue with PetiteKnit, and also I hadn't seen a lot of people say that. I guess if you have that trouble, I can give confidence that it doesn't matter too much.
Do you think your row gauge was off on the armhole or something?
Probably.
Okay.
I bet it was a row gauge issue.
Especially if it was like on the button band too.
Yeah. And, well, I guess I haven't really compared my length measurements to the patterns, but yeah, it was probably a row measurement. I also think in general my gauge might just be a tiny bit tighter than hers, because I feel like everybody says that this jacket looks so oversized, and I don't feel like it looks...
It doesn't look like crazy oversized.
So, which I'm pretty sure my swatch was right, but if it came out a little bit smaller, I don't think that I'm too mad about it. I'm super happy with the fit, but I just wonder, I need to go back and compare it, I guess, to the original pattern measurements, because I feel like mine might be a tiny bit off. Another thing that I have mentioned before, but I think is worth kind of pointing out, is that I did attempt to shorten the sleeve circumference. So where you're knitting the front and the back, I tried to shorten that just a little bit. Because you have to knit in a certain pattern, it wants you to finish as like either a twist or a diamond, like specific parts,
like the whitest part of the diamond.
Yeah, it doesn't want you to just stop the pattern anywhere, and so because of that, it didn't come out quite as short as I was hoping. I think I only got about an inch out of the arm circumference, shorter than what hers recommended. And I feel like I saw a lot of people saying how big the arms were, so I was hoping to get the arms just a little bit smaller than that. But really, sorry, I'm gonna invade your space. I don't feel like they look massively oversized. Like, I don't know. I don't think that I've had that problem as much as maybe others, which is really nice. So yeah, overall I'm super happy with it. It felt really good to finish it and have a really pretty cabled piece, and it's very unfortunate that I finished it in July where it's not seasonally appropriate at all, but I still like it.
I feel like this is one of the few episodes where I don't have any knitted finished objects, so instead I'm just wearing a piece that I sewed earlier this summer. So today I'm wearing the wind dress by Soften Studio, and I used fabric from Blackbird Fabrics. I'm pretty sure it was like a cotton dead stock fabric, so I don't think they have it in stock anymore, but I really like how like lightweight and breathable it is. It's been a really good summer dress to wear to work and just like around town a little bit. I'll probably wear it to like a baby shower next weekend, so I've been enjoying it.
I'll start with the project that I had on the needles last time, which was a scarf number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I knit it in Sandnes Garn Tynn Line held double in the color Blue Hortensia, I believe. I'll hold it up so that you can see some of the little texture and detail. This was a very simple little scarf project. I really mostly just wanted to get this color on the needles and have a little fun project that wasn't too, I don't know, like, I don't want to use the word thoughtful, but
involved.
like, yeah, involved. Yeah. That's good. I just wanted a really simple project, and I was really drawn to this color. And to start this, you really start at the middle with just a few stitches, and then following the pattern, it just grows and grows. So you can make this whatever size you want. I've seen people make bandanas out of it. I feel like you could take this all the way like a really big shawl. I thought I was following the pattern because I need to go back and check my work on this. I thought the pattern said to do the repeats and then do the repeats 6 more times. But looking at her example photos, I think it just said 6 times total, not 6 more times, because I think in her samples, she only has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these repeats, and I've got 7. But either way, I think that the size turned out really good. And I feel like mine is a perfect example where, hopefully I don't mess up the microphone here, but it just like ties around the front really cute like this, like a little bandana kind of. And so I really like the way that that looks. And yeah, it's just a very simple, fun, casual summer project for me. So this is my first finished object. And you don't have any, so I guess I'll just keep going.
I don't. And honestly, as you were going through that, I realized I made a mistake on mine. So I was like fixing it the whole time.
I don't think that I had even started this last time. This one just like came out of nowhere for this. And I did just finish it this morning, so it has not been blocked or steamed or anything. So we're gonna have to be a little bit forgiving about lumps and bumps and all that good stuff. But I made an Audrey top by Sari Nordlund, which is a little, I'm kind of picturing it as a vest, honestly. It's a top, but yeah. I think I'm gonna wear it with like a shirt under it. Yes, exactly. She in the sample photos doesn't have anything under it, I don't think, like a t-shirt or long sleeve or anything. And it looks really cute on her, but for some reason, I'm just not picturing myself wearing it that way, and that's okay. Also, to take note, there is an Audrey top by PetiteKnit, so I thought it was interesting that 2 very big designers both named pieces the same thing. So I feel like if you search this on Instagram, you're gonna see kind of a mixed bag of like different projects. I feel like PetiteKnit might have a little bit more on the leaderboard there. I did use leftover yarn for this project, and I had a couple of motivators for wanting to get this on the needles. First was that I was at a point where I had finished this project. I only had yarns that were very like cotton, linen, very summery plant-based fibers, which I really love using in the summer to an extent, and I often like the result of, but like if I'm honest with myself, I just enjoy soft, squishy yarns to knit, like a process of knitting, more than plant fibers. And so after I got the Dagmar off the needles, I was just kind of craving like a softer project. And I didn't want to go buy yarn. I have a lot in stash, and we've got things coming up that is going to put more yarn in stash. So we're going to flock, and we've got a pre-order for yarn that we're excited about, and just like things that I was like, I'm not gonna buy more yarn. So I went to my stash and I had 3 little skeins of this color. This is the Oenling No. 1 in the color wine, and it was left over from my semi sweater that I knit earlier this year. And I also found this really pretty Instagram picture that I just thought was really good inspiration, and I was like, this is gonna be my little soft project to work on. And it went really fast too. It might be because I'm off for the summer, so I don't have a lot of like things inhibiting me from knitting all the time. But I knit this up in like a week, which was crazy for me. But I do want to point out a couple of things about the gauge on this project, just because I thought it was interesting. The first is that Sari Nordlund recommends a 2.5 US needle. She recommends a sport. I used a DK weight, but it's like 21 stitches per, or 21 stitches per 4 inches is the gauge. And to me, that's a DK weight, so I went with that. I had to go up to a US size 7 to get that gauge, so I thought it was so funny that she got a 2.5. I was like, wow, she must be a really loose knitter. So I don't know, that part
I think we're also really tight knitters.
Yeah, that too.
So probably a mix of both, that she's pretty tight. Or no,
she's pretty loose.
We're pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely like just a little reminder about like, look at the gauge, not the needle size, for me at least. But then also she recommended that on both the collar and the armholes that you pick up at a rate of 1 stitch per 1 row all the way around. And then she didn't have you change to a smaller needle. So for me, like picking up all the stitches and then going on a US size 7, I knew that it would bow out a lot and it wasn't going to be right for my gauge. So I actually knit the collar at a US size 6 and then did the entire thing. Realized immediately that that was still, like after I finished it, that was still going to be way too much. And I took a picture before I frogged it, so I'll try to put that in here. But I ended up taking that collar apart and going all the way down to a US size 4, so that was 3 needle sizes down. And I still feel like it's got a little bit of like stretch to it. I'm hoping that blocking will help because it has not been blocked. And if not, I think that it's close enough that putting some elastic into the collar might help it. But I just thought that was interesting because I think if I had followed the pattern exactly, for myself at least, it would not have been as nice looking.
The collar would have been like flapping.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have looked as neat. And it still doesn't look perfect, but I really think that it's at a point where blocking will do some magic to it. So I'm sorry that it couldn't be shown blocked already, but I just took this off the needles today. So, but overall, I think it's kind of cute.
Since I don't have any finished objects, I'll transition into our whips for today. And I was going to start with the Lacy loop tee because it's funny you had to go down to a size 4 on the ribbing because I accidentally used a size US 4 when doing this ribbing, even though the pattern did not call for that.
Wait, what is the normal gauge for it?
So the body's on 7 and I was supposed to use a US 6, but I got confused because this pattern actually has 2 different gauges depending on the yarn that you use. So she has 2 different recommended yarns, and one of them uses a recommended US 7 and the other yarn uses a recommended US 6. So throughout the whole pattern she has like 4mm/4.5mm as the recommended needle for like when you're, you know, casting on the body or the sleeves or whatever it is. And like halfway through knitting this pattern, I forgot that she had that recommendation, and I honestly thought it was a typo and that she meant to be saying like US 4.7/4mm. I don't know what I was thinking, because a lot of times they don't actually match up to what the like US version versus the millimeter version is, but for some reason in my brain like it was just a typo. And so when I got to the bottom ribbing, I looked at the wrong size, and for the size that I should have been knitting, I should have used a US 6 because I used the body on a US 7, but I didn't. I just went down to a 4. And so I'm like praying that it's gonna be okay. It's really tight right now on the bottom, but it also stretches out quite a bit. So I haven't blocked it yet.
I think it'll be fine.
I think it'll be fine. Like I'm really not worried about it. I think as long as I just pin it while blocking, it'll still look straight.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
And I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Thank you. But long story short, I've made really good progress on this Lacy loop tee by Other Loops. I finished all of the body, and then I finished one sleeve. So all I have left to do is finish a second sleeve, which I've already started, and then I need to pick up around the neckline. And to be honest, since I messed up and did US 4 for the bottom hemming, when I did the hemming of the sleeve, I just did the same thing because I was like, you know, we're just gonna make it an intentional mistake, and as long as it's consistent, it'll be fine. Or at least that's what my thought process was.
I think you made the right decision. It looks good.
Thank you.
That has a lot of positive use to it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty oversized, but I'm pretty excited about it. I hope I can finish it here soon so I can still get some wear out of it this summer. The yarn that I'm using is Undine by Ritual Dyes, and it was kindly gifted to us by Unwind, which is a shop local to us. So we are participating in the Unwind Undine Make-Along. And so there's a hashtag if you're interested in participating. We'll put it up on the screen. But they are running a really fun make-along this summer where if you use this yarn in either the fingering weight base or the DK base purchased from Unwind and have a finished object by August 31st, then you are entered to win a $50 gift card. So that's been really fun to be part of a make-along and get to see what other folks are making out of this yarn. And you're using
I was gonna say
the same yarn, but
perfect for
DK. I'm using the fingering, but I'm holding it like it's a DK because I'm holding it double.
Because they didn't have the natural at the time in the DK yet, and so I went with just the straight DK and you had the fingering, but honestly it was kind of nice because then we got to feel both a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use that to segue into my first work in progress, which is my Claude top by Brenda Calota. And I'm using the DK Undine in the color Hyacinth, so try to hold that up. It's got a really pretty broken rib texture to it. Hopefully you can see on camera. And it's just going to be like a really simple kind of square neck tank top. It is a really simple construction. You just cast on at the start and then do some increases out to create these like little shoulder seams. Very similar to the very popular Sabai top if you've knit that before or seen that. I've knit those before as well. And then you just really work down and it's going to eventually become a little top. And I think I need to look at the pattern again because it's been a minute, but I think that she does have instructions for doing a little like edging to finish this off a little bit cleaner on the edge. I honestly don't think it looks like it really needs it, but I'll probably do it anyway just to like really say that I finished it. But honestly, I think it looks kind of good as it is right now too. So we'll see. But really like working with this yarn. I really like how simple this project is going. And this yarn is a linen cotton blend. So it's going to be really light and breezy for summer. Which is perfect because if you are interested in joining the make-along, it goes to August 31st. So you do still have time to cast something on. We're looking at like a little over a month. So with the DK weight, you can do it.
The other work that I have going is the Friday tee by PetiteKnit. And I'm using two Coast to Coast classic socks. So I'm using the color Pigeon Milk as like the main color and then Lights Out as the contrast color. And even though we are affiliates with Coast to Coast, we will have the link in our bio for that. This yarn I did purchase on my own when I went and visited the shop earlier this year. So I got to go walk around and check it out. And so it's kind of fun that this has that fun memory attached to it. I'm amazed I haven't finished this sweater yet because I feel like I've been working on it forever, but I think fingering weight projects are just like that.
Okay, wait, can I jump in? When we were traveling, we had just got to the airport, like going out to the trip, we hadn't even left yet, and Jessica was like panicking in the airport that she forgot the needles for if she gets down to the body ribbing. We were like, Jessica, you're gonna be fine. She also brought like 4 books. She brought another project, I'm pretty sure. I was like, what do you think we're doing on this vacation?
I don't know what I thought I was doing. To be fair, all of my books got read. I did not read all of my books, but between you and Mom and me,
yeah, we like rotated
all of the books went to you, so that was a good use of space.
I just thought it was so funny. I was like, she thinks she's gonna get so much done on this vacation.
I literally got to like halfway through the yoke on this trip. Like I did not get very far at all. It was horrible.
We appreciate the ambition.
It was good in that I spent the time doing what I should have been doing, which was enjoying the trip. I don't know why I thought in my mind that I was gonna like finish this whole thing. I don't know what I thought we were gonna be doing. But since we've gone home, I still have worked on it a ton because this has been my like Love Island US project. I watched all of that season and somehow still didn't finish it watching that, and that's like 50 episodes long. So one day, I feel I'm getting close. I only have a couple more inches of the body and I'm hoping the sleeves will go fast. I'm enjoying this project in the sense that like, since it's broken ribbing, every other row is different. Like one row you knit and then the next row you like knit and purl, and you alternate colors every so often, which keeps it really like fun and engaging. It just feels like I've been working on this project forever.
It's a very tiny gauge.
And I don't feel like I have like that much to show for it. Also, it does look like it's really small, but I'm really not worried about it since it is a superwash yarn. I'm anticipating it to grow quite a bit when I block it. I did make a swatch for this project and my swatch grew quite a bit, so I'm really not too concerned, even though I think it does. Like when I hold it up, I think it looks a little small, but I'm very confident that it's gonna grow.
It looks so like Parisian to me. Like you could just sit and eat a croissant.
Yes, that's the vibe. I hope so. I am loving the yarn. Like I said, the pattern's fun. I'm just kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the finished object. I'm ready to move on to other projects. But I think I'll be happy that I dedicated the time and finished it. I think I'll enjoy wearing this one.
I think that's all for work in progresses for us, and normally we would share any yarn acquisitions, but we don't have any because we've got all these other like big things coming up, and we've just been kind of reminding ourselves we don't need more yarn at the time.
Yeah.
So
I know, hopefully we'll get this video out the weekend of the like 19th or 20th. That's kind of our goal. So if that's the case, then the Coast to Coast pre-order is going to be open for the second Book Tropes collection,
which we're very excited about.
Yes, something about the way Erin dyes yarn just like speaks to our souls, so we always have a ton of Coast to Coast things to talk about. So we're planning on ordering quite a few things for that. So definitely check that out, assuming we get this posted when we're hoping to, fingers crossed. If not, I guess we'll just like edit this part out. And then we're also anticipating going to Flock in August, like early August.
We're so excited.
And so we're kind of just like waiting to see what kind of like comes into our stash during those two things before we just like go out and buy new projects. Plus I think we've already got like a backlog of other things, so we're just trying to be good and mindful about like knowing we're going to have things come in soon, so we don't need anything like right this second.
Although to be honest, we are somewhat indecisive about things and get decision fatigue fast, so I feel like Flock is either going to be like we fall in love with everything and we want it all, or we're gonna get super overwhelmed and walk away with like, I want to get something just to have the like specialness of a yarn I got from Flock, but I don't know, I could see us walking away with not a lot of yarn.
I feel like I get decision paralysis really
Yeah.
easily, and the second I start getting overwhelmed, I'm like, no, let's just walk away.
Yeah.
I don't like pressure, and I worry that it's gonna feel like pressure-y, not like from any individual, just from the sense of like, oh, you're only here once, you gotta do something. I don't know. We'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully in our next video we'll be able to share how that went and what our experience was.
Either way, we're just so looking forward to the experience of it and just getting to see it and experience it and see other knitters and just, yeah, be in that element because that's so exciting for us. But anyway, all that to say is that we don't have any yarn acquisitions today, so we're going to jump into our sewing projects. Starting with our sewing projects, I made an Eleonora dress by Silver Saga Patterns, and I've knit. I've sewn several of her projects before. I just think they always come out really beautiful. They're all very like feminine and detailed, and I just really like those. I've actually sewed.
You keep saying knit.
Sewed the Eleonora dress before, but I wasn't crazy about the fabric that I chose for it, so I was excited to get to redo it. And I specifically chose it because we went and visited the Vatican on our trip, and a lot of the places over in Italy, the like cathedrals and churches, but especially the Vatican, are very strict about like not showing shoulders all the way to knees. And so I needed something that was going to be kind of like light and breezy with how hot it was, but also covering, and I just thought the Eleonora was perfect for that. So I made it in a blue fabric, a blue cotton fabric from Stone Mountain and Daughters. I did make a couple of modifications, not anything major. I followed really almost to a T. but I did shorten the sleeves a little bit, which I'm super happy about. And I also added a little tier. So I thought I'd go back and talk about the sleeve because I did have kind of an experience with that, and it's obvious in hindsight, but maybe if it helps anybody else, because I definitely I don't know where my brain was, but it just wasn't working. And I came prepared with the pattern piece so I can explain hopefully what I mean by that. This has not been ironed, and it's been several weeks now, so we're just gonna have to forgive it. Also, it's kind of off screen so that my face is still here. But you don't need the whole piece, we just need this edge. So I cut my fabric exactly to what the piece was, and then I realized I wanted to shorten it. I shortened it by an entire 4 inches, which at first I was like, oh my gosh, wait, is that too much after I did it? Because I didn't think about the seam allowance too much when I made that decision. But I think 4 inches was the right amount to shorten it. The problem is that since I'd already cut this out, it has this little tab piece where your fabric is going to, oh gosh, I don't know if it's gonna do it without ripping. Yeah, it's gonna fold up like this as you're sewing it. And right here, when I cut the 4 inches off, I cut that off, and so then my piece was just like this. And then when it folded up, it didn't align anymore. It was, I don't know if I'm explaining this right at all.
But there was a notch here, so
yes, it was it was folding in like this as opposed to matching that seam allowance. And so I ended up having to, in addition to cutting 4 inches off the length, I also went in and trimmed the body in or the sleeve in an inch. So my sleeves are smaller width-wise and height-wise. Not as much on the sides. It's only about 2 inches narrower.
Which are so puffy that
yeah, it's still super gathered. I don't know if anybody would notice it, but I was just how did I not realize that this notch was important? So if you're going to shorten your sleeves, I would definitely have that planned out before you cut your fabric. And I'm sure that's something that more experienced sewers would know automatically, but for some reason my brain just did not process that. I think I was just thinking oh, it's hemming a skirt,
But most of the skirts that we've made are
very
rectangle,
yeah,
so you take it in. Who cares?
Yeah, I just was a little bit cursing myself that I didn't think about it as I was doing it, but it turned out fine. It wasn't too bad. It was just a little bit of an extra mental challenge to figure that out. But I'm happy with shortening it. I think that if I was to make the pattern again, I would continue to shorten it because I just really like the way that that dress looks with little shorter sleeves. So overall, I would definitely do it again. The other thing I added just a little bit of extra detail to is that I put a little tier towards the top of the skirt part of the dress, just because I've seen a lot of dresses and skirts that have tiers to them that I really like. And I put it kind of towards the top just to make it feel like it's got a little bit more volume where it hits the hips, hopefully. In order to do that, I just kept the bodice piece width down a little bit longer, and then I cut the skirt panel to add that waist. So it was the torso was just a little bit longer, and then started the full skirt. Hopefully that all makes sense if you're interested in doing the same thing as well. But just if you're interested in those measurements at all, those are what I followed.
I've only sewed one thing since we last met, and that was a Saunders skirt by Sydney Graham. I don't know why this pattern just when it came out immediately gripped me. I just thought it was so pretty, and so you actually had some white fabric that you weren't using that I kind of stole, and I decided I was going to use that for a Saunders skirt. But there wasn't enough of the white fabric in order to do all of the godettes, because the skirt is made up of these kind of triangular shaped panels, and then there's an option to add, I think I'm saying it right, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's godettes, little triangles in between the other larger panels to just make it a little bit more full. And I really wanted to do that, but I didn't have enough white fabric to do that. And so thankfully I had a very similar colored fabric from Joann's that was a cotton eyelet fabric. And I know, poor Joanne. But I decided to marry those two together because I think they were perfect color pattern, and from far away you can't tell, like it just looks like a white skirt, but I think it's really pretty when you get a little bit closer and see these little details that there's this like cotton eyelet fabric in between them. So I really love this skirt. I've been wearing it a ton ever since we finished it, and I'm just super happy with it. And it was so fun to knit because I keep
to sew.
Oh my god, to sew. It was so fun to sew because it's mostly just straight lines. Like you're mostly just putting together like a billion different like triangular shaped type pieces and then sewing the straight lines, and it just makes it really easy and fun. So I really enjoyed sewing this particular skirt, although I will say something that I wasn't necessarily prepared for is it takes a lot more thread than I was anticipating, just because there's a million pieces and I don't have a serger or anything, so every time I would like do an edge I would also use my machine to zigzag the edge. I'm sure it takes the same amount of thread if you're using a machine versus a serger, but because there's so many seams in this skirt, it just took up a ton of thread. But
It's so pretty. I'm gonna copy it eventually.
I'm really happy with it. I really want to make more. I want one in like every color right now, but that's kind of excessive. So I'll have to like think on that and figure out what I'm making next. But Sydney Graham's patterns are just always such a joy to work out. They're always so like easy to follow the instructions, and they always fit really well. So I think I've made all of hers except for the ruby vest. So maybe this winter I need to change that.
And she's also, or she can be good for beginners because she does a lot of video tutorials of her patterns too, which I always really enjoy. Speaking of, the other sewing project that I finished is also a Sydney Graham pattern, because it would not be an episode here today if we didn't talk about the lane pants. I made another pair of lane pants. And so these are really just an exact copy of pieces that, or a piece that Jessica made, but I made the lane pants in a Pigeon Witches fabric that's got like kind of this reddish rust color gingham, and you made them quite a while ago now, I feel like, and I just was always obsessed with them. So I finally found the time this summer to get to make some of those, and those came on her trip with us as well, so that was really nice.
I think that's all we have for today. So thank you so much if you've made it this far. We really appreciate you joining us, and hopefully you make good progress on whatever it is that you're working on. But yeah, just thank you for being here, and we'd love to hear what you're working on. So if you wouldn't mind telling us in the comments, we always get so much inspiration hearing what other people are doing.